Hello, teleSUR English present a new episode of China Now, a Way Media's production that showcases the culture, technology, and politics of the Asian giant. In the first segment, we have the news of the passing away of former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. We are going to see the review of his work and key role between the U.S. and China relations. Also, we have the United Nations Security Council convene a high-level meeting to address the long-standing Israel-Palestinian conflict, led by China in this role as the current voting presidency. Let's see.
China Current is a weekly news talk show from China to the world. We cover viral news about China every week and also give you the newest updates on China's cutting-edge technologies. Let's get started. Hi, welcome to China Currents. I'm Chris. Let's start today's episode by bidding farewell to the symbol of Cold War realpolitik. On November 30th, Henry Kissinger, the former U.S. Secretary of State and a towering figure in international diplomacy during the Nixon and Ford administrations, has passed away at the age of 100. The news marks the end of an era for the man who played a pivotal role in shaping American foreign policy in the late 20th century. Born in Fürth, Germany, Kissinger emigrated to the United States as a teenager to escape the Nazi regime. As a U.S. top diplomat, Kissinger played a crucial role in many significant international events, including the establishment of U.S. diplomatic relations with China, the negotiation of the Paris Peace Accords, and helped to end the Vietnam War and an initiation of détente with the Soviet Union. Henry Kissinger, as the United States National Security Advisor and later as Secretary of State during the Nixon administration, made a secret trip to Beijing to meet with Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai in 1971, paved way for President Richard Nixon's historic visit to China the following year. Kissinger maintained the role as an informal diplomat and consultant on foreign policy, including U.S.-China relations, long after he left public office. He visited China numerous times in the decades after he initially helped open diplomatic relations between the US and China, meeting with Chinese leaders and giving speeches on international relations and diplomacy. Many Chinese view Kissinger as a key architect of the diplomatic breakthrough with China and appreciate his pragmatic approach to international politics. His book On China, which outlines his perspective on Chinese geopolitical strategy and history, has been widely read in the country. In a world of today, it would be hard, if not impossible, to see another man maneuvering diplomacy based on realpolitik. In order to build allies based on not ideology but purely pragmatic reasons. But I'm not mourning the end of that era. Realpolitik, at least when in the hands of the Americans, was gone for good. It may be credited for paving the way of the normalized Sino-American relations and giving Kissinger a Nobel Peace Prize for ending the Vietnam War. But remember, contributing to that prize, there were also the war crimes in Indochina, the deadly coup d'etat against Salvador Allende in Chile, the firm support, the bloodbath in East Timor, and, as we are witnessing this very moment, the Palestinian question. Henry Kissinger was a man of his times. The Cold War, a period when imperialistic diplomacy was in its all-out form, that period has long gone, and the death of Henry Kissinger just officially crafted the epitaph of that historical episode. And next up, Gaza. On November 29th, the United Nations Security Council convened a high-level meeting to address the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Led by China in its role as the current rotating presidency, the meeting aimed to foster an enduring ceasefire between the two nations. Attended by foreign ministers and representatives of nearly 20 countries, including Palestine, Qatar, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, as well as all Security Council members, the discussions sought to revive efforts toward a viable solution. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi stressed the urgent need for the UN to assume a more active role in supervising humanitarian assistance to Gaza and called for a full implementation of Resolution 2712. The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs also released the position paper of the People's Republic of China on resolving the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, outlining 5 key principles aimed at advancing the peace process. These included advocating for a comprehensive ceasefire, prioritizing the protection of civilians, ensuring robust humanitarian aid provisions, intensifying diplomatic mediation efforts, and ultimately achieving a political resolution through the implementation of the two-state solution. Minister Wang Yi underscored the prolonged neglect of the Palestinian people's right to statehood, survival, and return, which lies at the core of the Israel-Palestinian conflict. He emphasized that the fairness and justice of the two-state solution is irreplaceable in resolving the Palestinian question. Next up, on November 27th, in response to massive rumor that Dell is planning on withdrawing from the Chinese market, Dell's Vice President Wu Dongmei said Dell has never released any misinformation regarding the so-called withdrawal from China. Since earlier this year, rumors have been rampant about one of the largest laptop producers withdrawing its supply chain from China. The market worried that Dell is planning to decrease its chip procurement from Chinese suppliers gradually, and the rumor even went to the point that Dell wants to completely exit China. These rumors are definitely false, the vice president reassured. Similar whispers have grown in the past months as China's economy recovers amidst tense China-U.S. relations. Just days before Wu's clarification, rumors spread that Dell would stop selling a portion of its product equipped with high-end AMD graphic cards on the Chinese market to comply with the U.S. chip bans. In early November, U.S. investment giant Vanguard dismantled its last operating team in China. According to China's Ministry of Commerce, the actual use of foreign direct investment in the first 3 quarters of 2023 shows an 8.4% year-on-year decline. Also in October, the governor of China's central bank emphasized in the report the need to prevent the risk of abnormal fluctuations in cross-border fund flows, which analysts interpreted as an echo of the Commerce Ministry's statistics. In September, prominent chip producer Qualcomm confirmed it will lay off 20% of its employees in its Shanghai office. Yet many interpret these intertwined signs as market behaviors rather than a wave of foreign investment escaping China en masse. The Federal Reserve Board has maintained the federal funds rate in the range of 5.25 to 5.5%, the highest level in 22 years, and there's no reason to ignore such an impact on investment behavior. There will certainly be some fluctuations, as addressed in the column published by China News Service, one of China's state media outlets. With Xi-Biden meeting in San Francisco amid the APEC summit, the market expects welcome signs of rebound in economic interactions between the two countries. Next up, diplomacy. On November 26th, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, along with South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin and Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi, jointly attended the 10th China-Japan-South Korea Foreign Ministers meeting in Busan. This year marks the resumption of the trilateral foreign ministers meeting between China, Japan, and South Korea after a 4-year hiatus. As close neighbors, China would continue to adhere to the principles of being friendly and cooperative with its neighbors and work together with South Korea and Japan to promote the resumption of trilateral cooperation. Chinese experts believe this meeting will not only pave the way for high-level meetings between the 3 Asian countries, but also will inject stability in the region and ensure up the 3 countries' cooperation to offset the negative consequences of the current challenges from the global turmoil. Next up, against the backdrop of intensifying global competition, China organized its first International Supply Chain Expo from November 28th to December 2nd in Beijing. The expo aimed to provide a platform for industry players to explore opportunities, promote cooperation, and showcase its latest advances in the supply chain sector. It attracted 515 domestic and international companies and organizations. Coinciding with the expo on November 27th, US President Joe Biden announced the establishment of the White House Supply Chain Resilience Committee. This move comes as the United States seeks to strengthen its supply chain capabilities and reduce its dependency on foreign sources. Biden emphasized that the United States would never give up and predicted that historians will view this moment as the starting point for America's success in 21st century competition. While geopolitical tensions persist, American businesses showcase significant enthusiasm for the expo, despite the US government's repeated rhetoric on supply chain decoupling. According to the China International Chamber of Commerce, for the private sector, American exhibitors accounted for 25% of the registered overseas exhibitors at the event. As the world grapples with evolving economic dynamics and competition, the Expo offers the platform for stakeholders to forge partnerships, explore opportunities, and contribute to the future of global supply chains. Last but not least, on November 27th, a court hearing of the aviation transportation liability dispute related to MH370 began in the People's Court of Chaoyang District, Beijing. It is understood that more than 40 families of the passengers have filed lawsuits, with a case set to be heard between November 27th and December 6th at the Chaoyang Court in Beijing. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was a scheduled international passenger flight operated by Malaysia Airlines that disappeared on March 8, 2014, while flying from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Malaysia, to Beijing Capital International Airport in China. The aircraft operating the flight, a Boeing 777-200ER, last made contact with the air traffic control when it was over the South China Sea less than an hour after takeoff. It disappeared from air traffic controller's radar screen soon after. With all 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board presumed dead, the disappearance of Flight 370 was the deadliest incident involving a Boeing 777, as well as the deadliest incident in Malaysia Airlines history, until it was surpassed in both regards by Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, which was shot down while flying over eastern Ukraine 4 months later. Despite multiple large-scale searches of the seabed, the bulk of the aircraft has not been located, raising many theories about its disappearance. On January 29, 2015, Malaysia's Department of Civil Aviation officially declared the loss of MH370 an accident, with all 239 people on board presumed dead. The lack of closure regarding the fate of the flight has tormented the families of those on board. The vast majority of passengers were from China and Malaysia. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts and comments about our show, please reach us at the email address below. I'm Chris, looking forward to hearing from you, and see you next time.
We'll go for a short break, but we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to China Now. In this second segment, we have a threshold with some tech innovations and announcements that happen in China, just as China helps United Arab Emirates complete the world's largest single-site solar plants, and Shanghai empowers Global South with a court watch against West Food Data Grip. Meanwhile, in Thinkers Forum, we have how China places a high priority on building its carbon market, where in July 16, 2021, the country reached a milestone launching of its national carbon trading platform. Also in overlap, we have Arwa Abu Hassan, the researcher and co-founder of the Besieged Truth Initiative, and Dr. Akel, the coordinator of international relations of the Palestinian People's Party and the coordinator of World Peace Council for the Middle East. Let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and this is Threshold in China. Today we are going to share some exciting tech innovations and announcements that happened in China last week. Chinese researchers used artificial intelligence to tackle one of the deadliest cancer types. Pancreatic cancer is often called the king of cancers because of its relatively low survival rates. Unfortunately, early symptoms can be vague, making it very difficult to detect and treat it at an early age, so the patients often get diagnosed at later stages. On the other hand, existing early screening tools for pancreatic cancer are generally poor in accuracy, which leads to many cases of misdiagnosed and unnecessary panic. Now, scientists from institutions including Alibaba Damo Academy have made a breakthrough in developing screening tools. Their AI model is called PANDA, which is short for Pancreatic Cancer Detection with Artificial Intelligence, and it enables large-scale early screening for pancreatic cancer by analyzing routine CT scans, which pinpoint pancreatic anomalies. Unlike expensive enhanced imaging, PANDA uses widely available non-contrast CT data. It applies deep learning to scrutinize texture and morphology within scans that humans would miss and goes on to identify lesions and classify disease stages. The team said the specificity of the early screening model reached 99.9%, meaning that there is only one false positive case in every 1,000 tests. Meanwhile, its sensitivity, that is its ability to detect pancreatic tumors, could reach 92.9%, beating the mean radiologist performance by 34.1%. Testing on over 50,000 patients, Panda flagged 31 overlooked cases, including early-stage tumors. The researchers shared an example of patient C. Patient C's annual physical exams, including chest CT scans, had shown nothing abnormal. However, 7 months later, the patient's CT images were retrospectively evaluated using Panda, which detected a 95% probability of a pancreatic tumor. After a multidisciplinary review, the medical team decided to record the patient for an MRI exam. And it was concerning, so the surgeon obtained consent from the patient and operated successfully. The lab results confirmed an early-stage pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor, the same disease that took the life of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Patient C was the first actual case of this tumor that the study successfully detected with Panda analysis. Beyond enhancing detection rates, Panda also upgrades diagnostic quality to give patients the best odds. Apart from this, in October 2021, AI plus CT scans outperformed experienced physicians in early detections of esophageal cancer in terms of both sensitivity and specificity. The team's deep learning model also accurately defined 42 organs at risk from head and neck cancer, and that could help reduce complications from radiotherapy. This year, Damo Academy has continued announcing favorable results in their medical AI in recognizing and diagnosing various cancer types, such as liver tumor, gastric cancer, and beyond, demonstrating the technology's growing potential across diverse applications. While the AI model showed promise in detecting pancreatic cancer, the researchers cautioned that further evaluation is still needed before it could be widely adopted in clinical practice. The world's biggest solar power plant at a single location has been completed, and it is in the UAE, constructed by Chinese contractors. The massive 2-gigawatt facility spans 20 square kilometers of desert outside Abu Dhabi and can power up to 200,000 households. It is built in just 3 years with the efforts of 4,500 local employees. The Al Dafa solar photovoltaic plant has 4 million bifacial panels and cutting-edge technology supplied by China. It was developed under the UAE's Clean Energy Ambition and China's Belt and Road initiatives. Approximately 2.4 million tons of carbon dioxide is saved per year, which is equivalent to removing over 500,000 cars from the roads. By mid-November, the solar farm had already produced 3.6 billion kilowatt-hour of clean electricity. It was also expected to increase the proportion of clean energy in the Emirates' overall consumption to over 13%, which contributes to UAE's target of net zero emission by 2050. And it is also the world's most affordable solar power price ever, that is 1.3 US cents per unit. And this is just one of the BRI energy projects. According to reports, China has green development partnership with over 30 countries under its Belt and Road infrastructure program. Others, such as the Unit 2 and 3 of the Karachi nuclear power plant in Pakistan, had generated nearly 20 billion kilowatt-hours of clean electricity. Putting the figures into perspective, this is the power that meets the needs of 2 million people in a year. Looking forward, we can expect more renewable projects on developing green and low-carbon energy around the world, especially in developing countries. China is providing developing countries with agriculture monitoring capabilities through its advanced crop watch system. It aims to break Western control over global crop data. It has been helping developing countries gain access to monitoring tools and technologies to better inform their management of food production and prices. CropWatch was originally developed in 1998 by researchers at the Chinese Academy of Science to monitor crops domestically. Because at the time, most countries relied on two major remote sensing monitoring systems run by the United States and the European Union to forecast fluctuations in global food markets. But the reports did not provide access to the original data, so China developed CropWatch to have a more independent understanding of the domestic agricultural market. And most countries, especially developing countries, do not have the technology or resources to establish their own global crop yield monitoring system. So, over the past 2 decades, it has been expanded into a global initiative assisting many countries around the world. CropWatch analyzed satellite imageries and ground measurements to provide insights into crop yields, environmental changes, and agricultural trends. It is cloud-based and allows shareholders to access without additional investment on hardware and software, integrates a variety of indicators at global, national, and regional levels. It monitors indicators such as rainfall, crop area, land use intensity, air temperature, and others. It analyzes agricultural production and conditions in countries responsible for over 80% of the world's staple grain supply. More importantly, it is an open system that allows users to access transparent information. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, the biggest advantage of the system is that it can be customized, allowing countries to generate different indicators based on their specific needs. The head of CropWatch, Wu Bingfang from the Chinese Academy of Science, emphasized that food security requires transparency of information. His team works with UN partners to provide personalized training and systems tailored to countries spanning Asia, Africa, and beyond. Mozambique had previously relied on agriculture monitoring mainly from other nations, but found CropWatch's customized system to be far more precise. It enabled monitoring down to regional administrative level within the country, and this has allowed Mozambique to issue monthly crop monitoring reports during rainy seasons. When the flood hit in 2019, local authorities had the data to coordinate disaster response. Similarly, in Mauritius, a country that imports about 75% of its food, this technology helped to predict climate shocks and global yield dynamics to reduce risk and uncertainties. Currently, CropWatch reports has been downloaded by stakeholders in over 173 countries. The FAO further emphasized that improving information access is crucial for mitigating distortions in the global food market, and CropWatch reduces fluctuations in the food market. And that is all for today's Threshold. We hope you like this new section on science, technology, and China. As usual, we welcome your feedback and thoughts.
China places high priority on building its carbon market. Ever since launching pilot carbon trading markets at regional level in 2011, China has been able to set rules for allowance allocation and carbon trading that are compatible with its own national development needs. China reached another milestone on July 16, 2021, with the launching of its national carbon trading platform. As one of the first cities in China to experiment with a local carbon market, Shanghai's carbon market has expanded since its inception in 2013 to include 28 industries such as steel, power, chemicals, aviation, water transportation, construction, and data centers. More than 300 enterprises and 1,200 investment institutions have participated in Shanghai's carbon market, leading to the gradual maturation of systems for emission measurement, verification, allocation, and carbon trading. As of October 2023, Shanghai's carbon market has witnessed the spot trade of 230 million tons of carbon dioxide, with cumulative turnover hitting 3.805 billion yuan, and a compliance rate of 100% every year.
上海碳市场主要有这样几个特点。
The following points characterize the Shanghai carbon market. Wide industry coverage, it captures major emission sources and fully reflects the industrial makeup of Shanghai. This is evident in the diversity of the trading entities which cover both firms under emission control and investment institutions. Openness and inclusivity, the Shanghai carbon market is connected with the market for green electricity, the CCER market, and the SHCER market. It is also closely linked to financial market. Innovation in terms of institutional design. In order to promote clean energy, we allocate carbon allowance based on the ratio of carbon content in a company's energy consumption, forming a more effective regulatory mechanism. After over 10 years of practice, the market mechanism of Shanghai's carbon trading system assumed greater importance in raising awareness among enterprises towards a green and low-carbon pathway, in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, as well as in driving financial resources into environmentally friendly enterprises and projects, and promoting building a sustainable city.
正日益发挥着重要作用。
In addition to creative institutional design, what innovative financing solutions is Shanghai providing?
上海碳市场
Shanghai's carbon spot market has undertaken a series of explorations with regard to carbon finance. It has successively launched carbon borrowing, carbon funds, carbon trusts, carbon asset pledges, and carbon insurance, effectively revitalizing more than 7 million tons of carbon assets and financing more than 100 million yuan. Shanghai has actively explored possibilities of carbon derivatives, introduced risk management tools, and cooperated with Shanghai Clearing House to launch Shanghai Carbon Quota Futures. This is the first carbon futures product in the country to use central counterparty clearing and is currently the only standardized over-the-counter carbon financial derivative in China, with the cumulative transaction amount of which exceeding 158 million yuan. The Shanghai carbon market also strengthens its connection with the financial market through its cooperation with the China UnionPay. The cooperation yielded the issue of 45 green low-carbon card products by 34 commercial banks. Concurrently, together with the Shanghai Stock Exchange and CSI indices, the Shanghai Carbon Market launched CSI Environment Exchange Carbon Neutrality Index and jointly issued corresponding index funds with 8 fund companies listed on the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock exchanges. The initial fundraising scale was 16.4 billion yuan, with the cumulative number of valid subscription accounts exceeding 330,000, and the cumulative transaction amount exceeding 80 billion yuan. This continuous carbon financing innovation has effectively channeled investment into Shanghai's green, low-carbon sector.
What is the next step for the Shanghai carbon market?
未来
Moving forward, Shanghai will continue serving the role of a testing ground for the national carbon market. Firstly, it seeks to enhance the efficiency of Shanghai's carbon market by refining the fundamental regulatory frameworks and the ability to manage with precision. Secondly, it aims to boost the vibrancy of the Shanghai carbon market by making headways in expanding industry coverage and carbon trading mechanism, so as to bring forth innovative carbon financing and nurture further market vitality. Thirdly, Shanghai will seek to increase the global influence of its carbon market through deep international cooperation, alignment with international carbon market rules, and active participation in charting out relevant global standards. We expect Shanghai to keep contribute to building a clean and beautiful world.
携手共建清洁美丽世界，不断贡献上海力量。
Hello and welcome to Overlap, brought to you by Wave Media. Today we have 2 distinguished guests from Palestine. We have first with us Ms. Arwa Hashhash, researcher and co-founder of the Besieged Truth Initiative, and we have Dr. Akel, the coordinator of international relations of the Palestine People's Party and the coordinator of World Peace Council for the MENA region. Welcome. And first of all, I would like to know, where are you based in Palestine? Are you affected by the current tension and conflict?
Yeah, I am in Ramallah, West Bank. West Bank is not Gaza, as you know. Palestine is now divided in 3 pieces. There is West Bank, there is Gaza Strip, and there is the Palestinians inside Israel. And the 3 parts are a target of Israeli aggression. in West Bank, where we are, also there is an Israeli aggression every day, every night.
Yes, I live in Ramallah, also in West Bank, but now I forced to be in Berlin because when the aggression started, they closed actually the borders and they prevented the people to go back.
Please educate us. I mean, we know West Bank and we know the Gaza Strip. We know these two territories are disconnected. And are there any connections between the people, the Palestinian people from the two places?
I think that before starting answering the questions, first, we would like to thank you for this opportunity to meet you and to have this fruitful discussion, hoping that it will help the public opinion to understand what's going on in Palestine. And because of that, I want to go back in a brief history about the Palestinian issue, which is very important. The Palestinian problem started from the beginning, the first beginning of the last century, after the First World War, by Britain to give a promise to establish a Jewish state in Palestine by the so-called Balfour Declaration, which declared that Britain will help establishing an Israeli and Jewish state in Palestine. And after the war, Palestine was under Britain mandate, and they were taking all actions to help the Jewish groups, especially the gangs in Palestine, to control cities, to control the land. And there was conflicts between Palestinians and settlers then all these times until 1947, when the United Nations issued the Resolution 181, divided Palestine into two states, Palestinian and Israel. Israel was established 1948, but Palestine is prevented by Israel, Britain, and some marionette Arab regimes then. Israel, after that, committed a lot of massacres against Palestinian people. The settlers are attacking Palestinians in everyday basis. And because of all these conditions, 7th of October, some kind of reaction by the Palestinian liberation movement with Hamas to start this action against Israel, 7th of October. By the way, we have to say also that Hamas is not ISIS. Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Hamas is a part of the liberation movement of Palestine, aiming to end this occupation, to end the siege of Gaza, and to give the Palestinians the right of self-determination and establishing a Palestinian state. Now, as you know, geographically, Gaza is divided from West Bank by Israeli territories. There is the so-called Green Line, which is separating West Bank from Israel, from the Palestinians inside Israel, which means now any person in West Bank cannot go to Gaza and cannot go to Israel. And any person from Gaza cannot go out of Gaza. Gaza is besieged from all sides, from the sea, from the Israeli side, and there is only one passage through Egyptian borders, through Rafah. And because of that, we are not in position to go to Gaza or to have any help to Gaza.
Right. Thank you for the introduction to the very complicated historical background of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now turning to Arwa. Before this conflict, I believe Israel has already separated Gaza from the West Bank. Are you able to learn the current situation on the ground in the Gaza Strip?
We need a special permission from Israelis to go there, which is almost impossible. So we cannot learn by being there, but we have relatives, we have comrades, we have friends there. Israel keep cutting electricity, keep cutting internet from the people there. And they actually bombing everything. Every live thing in Gaza is under the bombardment of Israel. Also, Israel keep cutting off food, water, fuel, and also medications. Now, a real catastrophe, a real humanitarian catastrophe. There is no water now. Yesterday, I read a report said that people in Gaza, they only have 3 liters of water for the person, for drinking, for washing, for everything, while the normal person needs 100 liters. 100
liters.
At least, yeah. So the people in Gaza only have 3 liters, which is really a crisis. The health situation also is very hard. The hospitals, first, many hospitals now stopped from working. Around 20 hospitals stopped from working because the lack of fuel. Hospitals are full of injuries. Some people actually they live to be die without treating because there is no capacity for the hospitals to treat people. So the situation is really catastrophic. We are about a famine in Gaza Strip. They want people to suffer, so they force them to leave Gaza Strip.
Yes, thank you. As you are following the situation from 7th October until now, Israel started bombing Gaza from the second day, from 8th of October, with one aim. Israel is aiming to force Palestinians to be transferred to Egypt. Israel wanted Gaza empty of Palestinians. But because of the position of Egypt as refusing to receive Palestinians, and from West Bank also, there was the same target of Israel to force Palestinians to be refugees again in Jordan, and Jordan is refusing. Israel is committing a mass destruction and genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. As they said from the beginning of the conflict, that it is a land without people for people without land. They want Palestine without Palestinians, and this is the main target of Israelis. Unfortunately, this war and this genocide, this catastrophe is backed by United States. United States, from the first moment of this aggression, started to give support to Israel in all aspects. In United Nations, they prevented any decision for ceasefire by helping Israel by weapons. They give Israel every kind of weapons for mass destruction in Gaza. From the other side, United States brought plane carrier submarines and warships to the Mediterranean to support Israel, and they are threatening any other side in the region to help Palestinians. They are opposing any kind of ceasefire, even for 1 or 2 days, to enter a humanitarian aid to Gaza. We can say that this war is an war with the full participation of United States. We saw also from the first days that the majority of the leaders of European Union and NATO running to come to Israel to express their support to Israel, saying that Israel has the right to defend itself. While they are seeing that Israel an aggressor, Israel is an occupation force, and the General Secretary of UN said that, or some official from Russia says that occupying forces has no right for self-defense. They are an occupying forces. The people under occupation has the right for self-defense and for resistance with any kind and with any means.
Really, sorry to hear that. I mean, we have been following this in China since the beginning, and I have personally done 3 episodes on my program regarding the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And now I'm very curious to know from the Palestinian perspective, to learn from you. In a Palestinian national authority, Hamas is elected by the Palestinian people, and it has more than 70 seats in the Congress, right? Is that right? And then Fatah has about 40 seats or so, right?
Yes, we can say that the latest elections in 2006, Hamas won the elections because we had mixed electoral system, and because of this system, Hamas won, and they have a majority in the Palestinian Legislative Council, and they formed a government after the election. But the West didn't recognize the election, didn't recognize Hamas government, and then they asked for Palestinian government of unity government. Also, with the participation of Hamas, they didn't accept, and then Hamas was and Gaza was isolated, blocked, sieged by Israeli forces with the support and help from the Western countries, and especially from United States, with the silence of a lot of Arab countries. During this time, Israel was trying, with the support of United States, to create a new coalition, saying that the main problem in the Middle East is not Israeli occupation, the Palestinian issue, but a threat from Iran. And they were trying to create a coalition between Israel and some Arab countries against Iran. But one moment, as you remember, China played a very positive role in making relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran and achieving an agreement for normalization. They opened the embassies in Tehran and Riyadh, and this kind of coalition and the so-called NATO, Arabic NATO in the Middle East against Iran failed, and because of that, United States and Israel, as a result of a reaction of these developments, they don't like the role of China in the Middle East, especially in the economical aspect, where they have good relations with many of Arab countries, and the road and the belt going to the Middle East. As you remember, last month in the meeting of 20s, they started a new road between India and the Middle East through Saudi Arabia, and it was planned through Israel and concretely through the north of Gaza. And because of that, Americans are now helping Israel, supporting to destroy Gaza. May they can succeed to renew these plans. Also, we appreciate the position of China and for the solution of the Palestinian issue. President Xi Jinping had an initiative from his side for the solution, but unfortunately, Israel and United States refused this plan.
It is genocide indeed. And Ms. Arwa, would like to hear from you, because I want to hear from a woman's point of view. It must be extra hard for you to see Israeli, how they committed atrocity against women and children throughout Palestine, in the West Bank and also in Gaza.
First of all, I think the death toll now is exceeding 10,000 people, Palestinian people. 70% of them actually are women and children. So the main targets of Israeli bombardment actually is women and children. Also, you know, for women, there is a special, let's say, needs. For example, there are in Gaza Strip 50,000 pregnant women. And with this situation, it's really, really very hard to them, first of all, to have a safe places for them to get delivered, and also it's hard for them to get the needs that they need as a pregnant woman. Also, water is very important for life of women, for many things. It's more important than men. So the situation for Palestinians in general are very hard, but it's more harder for the women, actually.
It's extra sad to hear that, because, you know, every man is a woman's son. And this situation is just beyond the imagination of many decent human beings in a global society. And I think that's the case because Israel has always played the PR campaign to their advantage. For example, when you hear the Hamas attack on 7th October, you will see how they hype the brutality on the music festival, how the women among the audience are targeted and affected. However, you don't hear such coverage on the Palestinian plight, how Palestinian women are, like you said, humiliated, tortured, and killed by the Israeli forces.
I can say that for the first day, there was a huge lie from Israeli side showing some pictures, fake pictures and fake news about Hamas attack, 7th of October. Netanyahu himself on the phone calling Biden, he said that there is 40 or 50 children with cut heads and tortured and burned, and this was shown later that it was a lie. And because of that, after beginning of the situation became clear and all these news and pictures from Israeli side was fake, the public opinion waked up and they started to see the real face of new Nazi in Israel, because as you know, in Israeli government now there is a clear fascist elements. Minister of the so-called ethnic security, Ben Gvir, and Minister of Finance, and the latest declaration of one Israeli minister of culture, that they must bomb Gaza with nuclear bomb. They are leading the whole region to a hell of conflict, including the population of Israel itself, which is threatening also the lives of Israelis. If you follow how Israel is treating the Palestinians inside Israel, who are citizens of Israel with Israeli passport and living in Israel from 1947, 48.
Yes, of course, I completely agree with you on that.
And this was another episode of China Now, a show that opens a window to the present and the future of the Asian giant. Hope you enjoy it. See you next time.